Yo, what is up, youth? Welcome to our YouTube channel. Welcome to today's podcast. I hope you enjoy it. We talk about Pastor Josh's message on discipline, how discipline prepares you for moments of opportunity. Let's jump right into it. Love y'all. Hey, what's up, Josh? Jab me up real quick. Welcome to the Youth Podcast. First annual youth podcast, so it's going to be exciting. This is a place where we take the conversation just a little bit deeper, talking about Pastor's message from the weekend. It's going to be a good conversation today because this past weekend, we really just we're just supporting the conversation. He already preached the word. We're just coming alongside and having a conversation about it. So we went to Alaska this past weekend for our staycation series. What'd you say? We were in Alaska, so it's cold there, but he brought...
Yeah, Pastor Josh brought the fire.
Yeah.
But we went to somewhere that was cold. And hey, in Texas, you take
right
that.
now, we will do anything for a little bit of cool air.
Absolutely. But again, a fire message. Pastor Josh spoke so wonderfully well.
Yeah. And so all the youth podcast is really taking moments like that, breaking them down in a conversation for us as young people. What does it mean for us? What are our takeaways? Because here's what I've learned is that just because you go through something as an experience, it doesn't turn to wisdom unless you have a takeaway from it. Unless you sit down, reflect, and meaningfully take that experience and use it for the good, it really doesn't mean anything. So being like, we say note takers are history makers. So that's not just like a sermon thing, like when you're in service. That's your whole life, that I'm going to learn in every experience, every relationship, every closed door, open door. And so we're just going to talk about his message this past weekend, our takeaways. He talked about how preparation eliminates fear. That is so good. So good because, like, the more you prepare, the less you'll be intimidated when the big moment comes. And I think what he says is God wants us to do little things well. He says that life's not about mountaintop moments, because it was about Alaska. Like, it's not about mountaintop moments. It's about daily decisions, the little things we do every day. And we know Pastor Keith says that consistency is the key to all long-term success. And I have a lot of questions with that, but just like jump into your takeaway, maybe like what was your takeaway from that whole message, and help us just like kind of reflect.
Yeah, just going off what you said, really, is like doing the small things, right? Right? Pastor Keith again says, you take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. And I feel like a lot of times in life, whether you're playing a sport and you're an athlete, whether it's with schoolwork, we get tiresome of doing the little things because we don't see the big result right away. So a lot of times we stop doing those little things because we're like, well, I don't see a big result that's happening, so why should I make my bed every day? Why should I go home and do homework? Why should I go to practice and listen to my coach? We don't realize when we do those little things, when those Goliaths come, like you said, we're able to take those down, and God uses us in such a mighty, amazing way. And what I love about the message is sophronismos.
Talk about it.
I said it right. That's self-discipline. And I love this quote what Pastor Josh said. He said, without sophronismos, which is self-discipline, bravery becomes recklessness. Mercy sinks into weakness. Freedom becomes criticism. Humility shapes into arrogance, and selflessness into corruption. So again, if we don't take care of those little things, what happens is we make a mountain out of a molehill, right? Not doing those little things over time become a big issue.
So true. You know, last week Pastor Keith talked to us in our staff meeting, and in reflecting or preparing for the sermon, you know, self-control, self-discipline is a fruit of the Spirit. Like, God wants to develop something in us. And oftentimes those fruit of the Spirit, it's not something you're born with. It's something you have to practice, you know. It's like a discipline that turns into a desire. Not always are those small things you enjoy at the beginning, right? It's like an acquired taste. The more you eat it, the more you do it, it turns into the desire, right? Like for working out, for example, working out is not something at the beginning, no one wants to do that. But then once you get a consistent rhythm, you're like, I can't wait to go to the gym today. I can't wait to grow just a little bit, you know? And so I was thinking, because Pastor Keith said this in our staff meeting, he says that lacking self-discipline will close every door that leads to personal greatness. That if you can't, self-discipline to me is, are you able to tell yourself no? Like, are you able to tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hang out with those people. I'm not going to make that decision. It's easy, right? It's temporary. It feels good in the moment. But the Spirit helps me to have self-control. I'm saying no to that temporary thing because I want an everlasting, more longevity kind of thing, you know? And so I was reminded of Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28. It says, a person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. It's like it doesn't even matter what attacks come. You're already defenseless if you lack self-control. You're not even prepared for the opportunity. And so there were so many great things. But like, what is one more thing that it was like a takeaway or a thought that you had with the message?
Yeah, again, Pastor Keith says this. It's a quote from Pastor Keith. It says, whatever you become aware of, you can care about. Whatever you care about, you have the power to do something about.
So true.
So again, it stems up. We have to be aware of those self-disciplines. We have to be aware of what we're doing so then we can care about it and then do something about it.
Yeah, so good. Another thing he said is like ignorance. Ignorance still has consequences, which means that we all have blind spots. We all talk about that. Pastor Keith had a whole series last year in Remastered about blind spots. And if you're not aware of the things about you, like that are really hurting everything around you, we all have those things. It's not just one person. Yeah. If you don't become more aware of those things and fix those things still have consequences. And that's a huge thing to understand. I didn't know that growing up as a teenager. It's like things about me I'm not aware of and I need to become aware of to become the best version of myself. And so 3 questions, okay? 3 questions that Pastor Josh closed his message out with. He said, what do you need to become more aware of? What do you need to care more about? And then what's something you need to do? And those are 3 great questions, 3 great takeaways that you can have today. So maybe just wherever you are, comment, share this with somebody, talk about this with someone in your family, a friend, reflect a little bit. But really the whole heart is to have conversation. Take the message that we heard, break it down into a conversation. What does it mean for us? Have a takeaway. And then we're going to be doing this frequently, though. It's going to be a good time.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us on the pod today, Josh. Just have me one more time, man. It's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure, man. Love you, bro.
Love you, man.
And we love you. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time on the Youth Podcast.